looking to expand our presence in European mining assets and mining operations. And I think it poses an exciting story that the UK mining industry hasn't seen in quite some time. And I think the Australian mining industry is looking at this very, very closely, saying, where are you guys going to go with this?
Adriatic Metals is a precious and base metals explorer and developer that owns the world-class Vares project in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The project consists of two deposits located at Rupice and Veovaca. The company is now focused on expediting exploration to expand the current JORC resource. Here to discuss more is Managing Director and CEO Paul Cronin. Paul, welcome to TCN TV.
Thanks, Lita. Great to be here.
Now, at the beginning of this month, Adriatic Metals upgraded its indicated and inferred mineral resource estimate, MRE, for the Rupice silver, gold and lead zinc deposit in Bosnia and Herzegovina. What ramifications do the key components of this new MRE have for key planks of the upcoming Pre Feasibility Study, the PFS, including operating costs and the quantum of resource that can be extracted?
Sure. So we've increased the resource from 9.4 million tonnes to 12 million tonnes. Most of that increase, however, is in the indicated category. So there's 9.5 million tonnes in indicated. That's going to give us a bigger mineable inventory, which we can factor into the PFS. And as a result, you'll see natural scale economies being realised that hopefully we'll start seeing some of the costs that we had in the scoping study reduce.
Certainly. Now, gold and silver now feature more prominently in the MRE. Previously, it was zinc. This MRE upgrade revealed a shift in the relative importance of the key metals in the Rupice deposit. In the initial MRE done back in 2019, zinc was the major focus. It now looks to be gold and silver. Can you explain what drove this shift in the pecking order?
Sure. I mean, zinc is still a very important metal to us, but just the sheer grades of silver in particular that we've been drilling through over the last year have meant that silver content plus the increase in silver prices now make it by far and away the most dominant metal, in terms of the revenue breakdown for the project. Gold prices have gone up as well, but gold recoveries for us in terms of our metallurgical test work are also having a big impact in that, and you'll now find that more than 50% of the revenue will be coming out of the precious metals categories.
Okay, and look, Adriatic's share price did take a slight dip on the day the MRE was announced. What caused some investors to lighten their holdings, and do you think this was justified?
Oh, look, I think some investors probably misunderstood the way the resource was done. We saw some comments talking about reductions in cut-off grade. That's just not the case. It was actually an increase in cut-off grade. So the cut-off grade in the original resource was 0.6% zinc equivalent. In this resource, although we represented it as a silver equivalent, it's actually 1.6% zinc equivalent, because we went from looking at it from a potential open pit to saying, no, it's definitely going to be an underground project. I was surprised by the reaction. And I think there were some people disappointed that we lost a bit of grade, but losing a bit of grade when you do infill programs is the norm. But we've still got a really, really robust project with more tonnes, and more importantly, more tonnes in a JORC category that we can actually use in our pre-feasibility study. And I think then looking forward, we're running all the NSR calcs now, but looking forward, that resource to reserve conversion is going to be exceptionally high.
Now, looking ahead a bit, there has always been much debate over the appropriate prices to use when analysing the viability of a project, especially in times of price volatility. Do you believe spot prices or the forward curve prices are the preferred option when undertaking such analysis?
Look, I'm an ex-commodity trader, so I only believe there's two prices. You can buy at spot and you can sell at spot, or you can buy on the forward curve, or sell on forward curve. However, in the mining industry, there are rules that are laid out by either the National Instrument Code in Canada or JORC that say that you've got to take a different view. most of the consultants, when they sign off on these sorts of studies, like to use consensus. Consensus is an individual's estimate. I think it's the least reliable price format, or taking an average of. But I think if you take out the outliers from those consensus estimates and bring it in, you get something that's reasonable. So we won't be using spot, but we'll be using something that we think is reflective of the recent history of those commodity prices.
Okay, Paul, and looking at the Tethyan transaction, the company's plan to purchase 100% of the Tethyan project was announced in May this year, with the intention of having this transaction completed by the end of August, once all conditions were satisfied. Did all Tethyan shareholders support the takeover, and has closure occurred yet?
Closure hasn't occurred yet. Plans of arrangement have multiple steps that you've got to go through, including shareholder votes and court appearances and whatnot. We've been through all of those. We've had the shareholder vote. Every shareholder that voted in favour of the transaction, apart from one person that had 19 shares, so a total investment of about $1. Not sure whether they just ticked the wrong box, but it was very well supported. And we're now waiting on a single letter from the Minister for Mines in Serbia, which basically confirms that the licenses have transferred, and then we will close about 5 days later. And I'm confident that'll be next week.
Excellent. Now, Paul, the company is currently in a legal battle with Sandfire Resources relating to issues surrounding an anti-dilutionary clause in a strategic partnership it had with Adriatic Metals. The last update on this legal action was provided to the market back in late July. Is Adriatic's worst case scenario here the handing over of 4.13 million Adriatic shares, which would be a little of 2% of your shares on issue to Sandfire, plus some legal costs? Or what is your strategy with dealing with this situation?
Look, we were disappointed that Sandfire served this writ. The basis of their claim is very, very weak. They're not. We don't believe they're actually asking for 4.3 million shares. What we're trying to do here is just clarify a few things within that strategic relationship agreement, because it's subject to a legal case at the moment in the WA Supreme Court. I can't really comment too much on it, but I'm confident that common sense will prevail.
Okay, and onto some more positive points now. The company's ESG initiatives. Do you believe that what you're currently doing in the ESG space stands Adriatic in good stead when other project opportunities in the Balkans come up? And how do they broaden your potential investor base?
Sure. So we take our ESG program of work very seriously. ESG isn't just a single function. It affects everything you're doing. It permeates through the way we work with our staff and train our staff. It works in how we integrate with our local community, in the way we design our project and the baseline environmental work that we're doing, and how we share that work with Bosnian governments to say, look, guys, you just so you know, you might have a little bit of a problem here. Let's work on a solution together to fix it. So our ESG pathway is all encompassing. But what we do get is really good feedback from government and from our local community in particular in the way we interact and the types of corporate citizens that we're being in Bosnia. That has been noticed. That's been noticed not just in Bosnia, but across the border in Serbia and Kosovo, where people are saying, well, this is a company that we want to see come in here and do what they've done in Bosnia and do it elsewhere. And I think, the Rupica project in Serbia, the Tethyan project, will give us an example to demonstrate how we do things there. And I think it will create more opportunities for us. And I think, that land extension that we received from the Bosnian government, it was because we've gone in there and we've said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And we've done exactly that. And now there's an element of trust where governments don't like to hand out big concessions to companies because they're concerned they're just going to sit on them for 10 years. and not do any work. But what we've demonstrated is we're willing to get out there and make the investment and do the work and deliver those benefits through that local community, both directly and indirectly.
So, Paul, finally, 1 year from now, where would you like to see Adriatic Metals?
I think 1 year from now, we will have commenced construction of the plant. We will have already constructed one of the 2 declines into the project. I even think by Christmas, we'll probably have a site ready for construction. Infrastructure will be done. We'll have moved things along pretty aggressively in that timeframe. But what you'll see is a company that in a very short period of time has gone from explorer through to developer. And all of the things that no one really thinks about, how are your OH&S procedures being developed? How do you integrate your environmental protections through your company culture? These are the things that we're really working hard on at the moment. And I think if you came to our site in Bosnia and you looked at the company a year ago and you came now, you wouldn't recognize it. But I think in 12 months' time, you definitely won't recognize it. Things are moving ahead really quickly.
Well, I look forward to following your developments. Thank you for your insights today, Paul.
Thanks very much, Leda. It's great to be here.
And thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please be sure to like and share the video, subscribe to TCN TV and drop us a comment. Tell us who you would like to see next and what you would like me to ask them. Or if you're an investor, send us an email so we can keep you in the loop with the latest ideas to empower.